Hello and welcome back to my channel, Tesha Tips. Today we are going to talk about estate planning. I just went through it and I want to share the ups and downs and in and outs that I learned through this process. Stay tuned. Okay, so just so you know, I have notes, I have my laptop, I have a lot of stuff in front of me because it's so much information, and I'm thinking that I'm not going to do it all in one video because it's just entirely too much. So I'm just going to give like an overview in this video, and then in the next video I'm going to just answer the questions. So what I did was send out to about 10 friends and asked what would be 5 things you would want to know about trust and wills. So they responded. I have like, I don't know, 40 questions. I'm gonna narrow everything down. The rest of the questions that I received, I'm gonna narrow them down, and then I'll just do a Q&A video on the next one. But on this one, we're just gonna talk about the beginning, I guess, and some of the immediate concerns that people had, okay? So for me, this started with the price. I could not, like, it couldn't settle in my spirit that these things, the trust, cost $2,000, $2,300, $2,500. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around that. And with me being all budgetnista and you know, just cheap pretty much, I said I want to figure out a way to pay for it myself. I don't want to, I mean, not pay for it myself, but do it myself, where I could just do the paperwork and then send it to a lawyer and be done with it, instead of paying a lawyer to do it, because I just felt like this is a middleman, and you know, why do I have to pay you to do something that I can do? Listen, if you can do it, more power to you. I was like, okay, legalese, Google, come together, Mother Earth, we're gonna do this. Every time I got to something, it was like, okay, well, what about this? Well, then who does this? And who gets that? And then, I mean, it was so many roadblocks. For my peace of mind, I ended up getting a lawyer. Just ended up getting a lawyer because I had to. It was no way that I just couldn't get everything in it that I wanted. And then you got the templates online, but you still have to go to a lawyer and let a lawyer look them over, because God forbid you leave one thing out, the proper language, and boom, your trust is null and void. It doesn't work, and you still got to go through probate anyway. So I had to give it up. That was my biggest issue, no lie. Like, and I dealt with that for like over a year, just trying to figure out. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I just couldn't do it. So the other thing that was the determining factor is, do you want a will or do you want a trust? In itself, this is complicated because you have to figure out how much things cost in your state. Okay? So I'm just going to talk about Iowa because that's where I live. 2% is what the lawyer will charge you. Now remember, you got lawyer fees, you got executor fees, and you have court. If I say executioner or executor in this video, just understand that I mean executor, because I've been messing those words up so much. But you got to give them 2%. So by Iowa law, the lawyer and the executor can each get 2%. And when I say can get 2%, I'm talking about of your entire estate. That includes everything, okay? Your entire estate is your houses, your cars, your jewelry, your insurance, your um, 401k, your IRA, anything in your bank accounts. All of those assets come together as gross. And that is what your, what is it called? Gross estate net value. So remember, when it talks about what you're going to pay them, it's coming from that. So 2% of 500,000 ain't no joke. You understand what I'm saying? And people say 500,000, like who has $500,000 worth of it? It's easier than you think, especially if you own a home. Depending on what city or state you in, your house could be worth $300,000 in itself. Let's say you got 150 in your 401k and 50,000 in the bank. Boom, you at 500,000. Now what? The lawyer's getting 2% of that. 10,000 gone. And then the executor can take their percentage, and then the court can put their fees in. So they're going to dwindle away at that. Now, mind you, this is with a will. So if you pass away and all you have is a will, you will have to go through probate. And probate is pretty much when the judge says, yep, that was that person. Yeah, they died. Yeah, you the person on this will. Boom. And they do get a fee for that. So that's probate. That's what you're trying to avoid by having a trust, if that makes sense. So you can go trust and not have to go through probate, or you can have a will and go through probate. So on a will, you'll just say, this person is in charge of my stuff. They already know what to do with it. Or give mama this, daddy that, sister this, brother that. Done. But in a trust, I can say, I want my son to receive $10,000 when he's 30. And then I want him to receive another $10,000 when he's 40. And I want him to receive the rest of the estate when he's 50. Or I want my son to get his books and his classes paid for from this estate, and a $1,000 a month just spending money. You can say those specific things in a trust. You can break it down years out. You know, they get, like, you got a few houses. This son gets this house, that son gets this house. When they turn 40, I want them to sell the third house and split the difference. Too easy, right? So those are things you can do with a trust. The difference between a will and a trust, the main difference is probate, okay? What I was saying about the trust is trying to figure out if you need one. Just from me doing my little public math that I normally don't do, I will say, if you live in a state with a percentage, I'm just going to go with mine, which is 2%. If you live in a state with a percentage, if you have anything over $100,000, you should have a trust. That means a house. If your house is $150,000, you should have a trust. Because 2% of 100,000 is what, 2,000. So if a trust costs $2,500, so that would be today, you would be paying $2,500 for peace of mind. It's done. When you leave this earth, everything's going to go where it's supposed to go, and that's going to be the end of it. Ain't no waiting, nothing. It's just boom, boom, boom. Stuff goes where it needs to go. With the will, you got to get somebody to come in here, normally the executor, and they hire a lawyer and all this stuff, and they got to tally everything up, see what stuff is worth, which is why normally you hear stories with wills taking 1.5 years for people to actually get their money, you know, to get paid out, because someone has to come in, figure out where everything is at, all the bank accounts, if there's 401ks, if there's homes, houses, they got to come together, see what everything is worth, any jewelry, and then it gets valued, and then of course the lawyer gets their percentage, executor got the judge, and then they have to publish it, because it's public knowledge when you go get a will, when you have to go through probate. It's public knowledge, so anybody can see all the stuff you have. If they wanted to find out, they could. With a trust, you can't do that. But with will, it's public knowledge. So also they have to give people that you have debt with, they have to give them time to come and make their claim against your estate as well. So anyone who you owe money to gets to come in and say, this is what this person owe me. You see this document right here? I need my money. So now you have it. Lawyers, executors, judges, people you owe, any taxes you owed, your burial fees, all of that stuff comes out, and then what's left gets divided up amongst the beneficiaries. Right? Too easy. Not really. Until cousin Terrence come and be like, Auntie Tisha said I could have her car. Mike, you remember when she told me that? Yeah, I remember she told you that. I want her car. She told me I could have her car. Now, if he got to go through the judge and the courts and everything to prove his case, and you got to prove she didn't say that, that's more time. More time. Because like they say, people come from out everywhere when, somebody had some stuff and they leave the earth and they're like, no, she said I could have that. She said I could. Now you got to fight all those different battles. So that's just another hang up when it comes to a will. With a trust, it's going where you said it's going. That's it. It was $50,000 in my bank account. Split that down the middle. Give one son this, the other son that. If I pass before that child is 18, hold the money in the trust until that child is 22, and then give them $5,000, and then when they turn 32, give them the rest. Like, you can break it down like that. You see what I'm saying? Much better for me. Okay, so when it came for me, so those were the determining factors, and that's what went into me getting the trust versus the will. The cost, the headache, gone, right? So the lawyers, let me tell you something. The days of free, consultations, free consultations, good luck, because people want money for the meeting these days, around here anyways. So, it's like, I did a Google search for lawyers, estate lawyers in my area. That was one thing that was important to me, that I wanted the person to be a lawyer that practiced estate law. I didn't want the car insurance lawyer that did a little bit of estate planning. I wanted the estate planning lawyer. So I focused on that because it's a lot of rules and regulations out here. I searched for that in my area. I called a few people. 2 of them I was able to do free consultations with, and the other ones were over the phone. The ones that I really didn't choose were, they were like, listen, you can come in for that first meeting, but I'm gonna charge you my hourly fee, which around here was like starting at $350. And I'm like, but why would I pay you if I don't even know if I want to go with you? Like, I don't even, it didn't make sense to me. I was so used to free consultations, but it was like, no. So one lady I talked to twice, she just gave me a good feeling over the phone. When we had the call, it wasn't like it was about money. It was like, so what do you have? What are you looking for? And then I answered her questions, and then I was like, so around about how much do people normally pay for a trust with your firm? And she gave me some numbers, and I was like, okay. Because after seeing everything and talking to all the different lawyers, I made it up in my mind that I'm paid $2,500. So I was trying to not go past that. I told her that. She said that that's normally around where they are, between 21 and 25. And if I don't have a problem with her saying, hey, we stretching this too long, we're gonna go into money, then we can work together and keep it where I want to keep it. And I told her I have no problem with that. Let me know if I'm taking too long to review something or whatever. Let me know. So I settled on her. She sent me a packet in the mail. We had a phone call. I filled out the packet. So at our first meeting, she already knew everything I wanted. She knew everything I had, and it was an hour. And after that, that was it. I left. She drew up the trust. Within a few days, she emailed it to me. I looked it over. I sent her back my questions. And then we had a meeting for me to sign, and that was it. All that mess I put myself through. But now it's over. It's over. One thing I want to say is Some people are hourly, some people have a set fee. I went to a couple of people who were like $3,000. I don't care how much you got, how little you got, it's gonna be $3,000. And other people are like it's $340 an hour, $400 an hour. So know that about the person. What else? If just a note before you go, I would write down on a piece of paper. Not that they'll ask you for it, but write down on a piece of paper all your bank accounts, like the locations and what it is, checking savings. If you have homes or houses in different states, write that down. Your 401ks, your IRAs, anything like that that you have. If you got the jewelry, you know about a dollar amount that it's worth, about how much a vehicle's worth. Just kind of write all that stuff out, just to have. And your executor, know who you want. Now remember, if you become like you can't function mentally, physically, that person will become you. When you leave this earth, that person will become you. That means they can buy and sell your properties. They can buy stock in your trust. They can sell stuff. They can do whatever they want to do because they are you. So just remember that. Whoever you're choosing, remember that. If you have kids that are going to a specific parent, or like if I leave them, my kids automatically go to their father, right? So he's going to handle the children. If they're still under a certain age, remember, whatever you're leaving to them will go to that person who's their caregiver, their guardian. If you don't want that to happen, have another person named for that thing, okay? And if you don't want the same person that's going to handle your money to handle your medical, think about that too. Because you got to have a money person and a medical person, or that person can be the same person. So make sure you think about that. I think this video is long enough. That's what I'm saying. There's so much stuff, and it's so much to explain, but I just want people to understand. We've been talking about wills. Like, it's like if you're talking about any kind of estate planning at all growing up where I grew up or just around me, all I hear is wills. No one ever talks about trusts. I don't know why, but they just don't do it. And I don't know if we think that that's a rich thing or what, but if you have, I'm telling you, so if your worth is at least $100,000, which is pretty much a house, I would suggest a trust. I would, unless you're going to put the person you want the house to go to on the house right now. So when you pass, it just automatically goes to them anyways. But remember, if you don't pass for 50 years, that person got say-so on that house. And I know I'm, kind of selfish. And I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it with my stuff. So trust is what I need. Okay, so like I said, I'll do another video answering all the questions that I received. Please don't forget to like and share and subscribe. I really appreciate you watching this video. That's my Tesha tip for today.